Alright, so this time we're going to add in a jump and some better control of the character. Since last time I upgraded to Unity 5, and that seems to have broken the player's animator, so it doesn't have that transition back when you're done walking. So let's make transition, right click make transition, set that to walking is false. See if it works as it did before. Okay, so that's kind of how it was working before. I think the other thing that changed is the materials are all need to be updated to standard. So I'll just change those to standard. Now we're good. Alright. So the first thing we should probably do is change his collider. So let's get rid of all these colliders. Remove component so that he doesn't have any of these weird colliders on him. Those collide everything. Those are colliding the ground. So remove all these. So now if we press play, he's just going to fall through the ground because he has no collider. But let's just give him, on the main player thing, let's just go add component, physics, capsule collider. And I will make mine a little bit taller. And I'm going to move it down a bit. Let's see. That should be good. Now, when I move, his collider is not bouncing around because it's not in his feet. So we want to write some code that reaches out to the rigid body. Just in the same way that we were getting the animator, we want to get the rigid body. So, up here, let's just make it private this time. Private rigid body. Remember, the rigid body is the physics thing. That's what makes him move with gravity and everything. And we're just going to duplicate the same code that was getting the animator and get the rigid body instead. And we're going to need a float for the move speed. So yeah, private float move speed, and move speed equals 5,000 F. And then when we're pressing to the right, make some notes there. We want the rigid body, add force, and it's a vector 3, so we're going to move him to the right with our move speed, using the walk input. That was how far we're pressing left or right, and multiplied by time.delta time, so that it's the same strength no matter what speed your computer's frame rate is. So that's the x, and we're going to do 0y and 0z. And on the left side, we'll move minus move speed. See what that does. Whoa. This moves super fast. So on the player's rigid body, I'm going to give him 10 drag. That way he won't move so quickly. Or he'll stop too. He'll stop when I'm not pressing. Ooh, that's not working for the left. Well, that's right, because I'm pressing left, so I don't need to minus that. Because that would already be a minus number. Going left and right. So we want to change how much drag the player has when he's in the air versus when he's touching the ground, so that he doesn't move all slowly while he's in the air. So we need to detect the ground. So I'm going to select the ground object. I'm going to, so it's untagged right now. I'm going to zoom in again. There we go. It's untagged. So I'm going to go add tag and create a ground tag. So I'm going to tag the ground as ground. And then inside the player script, void on collision enter collision other. So we collided with something and we're calling it other right now. If that other thing that we collided into game object dot compare tag. So if the thing that we collided into is tagged as ground, then we touched the ground. So print touch ground. So in this console, when he touches the ground, bam, so we detected that he touched the ground. So instead of having his drag be at 10, let's make it at 0. So he falls quickly. Move him up a bit. So now he has no friction at all and he walks really fast. But when he touches the ground, we'll go rbody dot drag equals 10f. So now he starts out fast, touches the ground, and there's nice drag. So next we want to jump. So we need to detect pressing upwards. So let's go float jump input is the same thing as left and right, except it's vertical. So also, we need a variable to keep track of whether we're on the ground or not. So private bool on ground. By default, let's make that false. When we touch the ground, let's make that true. If we're on the ground and we're pressing up, so that would be greater than 0, then we want to jump. So let's make a function for jumping. Void jump. Jump. So that calls this function. So we have to be on the ground to do it. And then we set on ground to false. And we're going to add some force. In the Y position. Let's just do 1,000 and see what. Let's do 100, see what happens. So I can walk. If I press jump, 100 was not a big enough number. So let's have a public float jump strength so jump strength equals 100. We'll put jump strength over here. So jump strength 700. So let's bring up the gravity. So edit, project settings, physics, and let's increase the gravity. Try -20. It's a little quicker. Maybe jump speed 500. So let's try that. Let's try his jump at 500 and set the gravity, project settings, physics. Let's make that -20. That's pretty good. Let's disable the ability to move left and right while you're in the air. So walking left and right should only happen while you're... Let's move that inside of... You're still on the ground. So if I'm on the ground, I can walk. That way... That's kind of... wow. I was not expecting that. Holy crap. I don't know why he's doing flips, but that's awesome. Alright, well, we'll fix his awesome flip move that he's not supposed to be doing. We'll either keep it because it's awesome, or we'll change that to something else.